And whom are you chopping? Your own soldier? Your comrade? Someone you have trained and lived with so many years. Stark realities. Then we have something called crevasses over there in the snow. Those are, when you are walking at 18,000 feet, there is no soil under you. It is total ice, and ice, which is called a glacier. And when the glacier cracks sometimes because of the shift in the plates of the earth, it cracks and makes huge gaps. And the depth of those gaps is several kilometers down. So when we are walking, if the gap is small, you can't see it. The soft snow covers it up. The wind chill factor makes the surface little hard. So the first two people just walk across, and the third one is just swallowed inside. Now to make sure that we are safe from that, about 15 people tie themselves with each other. One person here, next person next to that entrance over there, with that much distance and a rope. And we are on a steep incline like this. But still, sometimes the third person or fourth person falls down. When he falls down, with a jerk, everybody starts sliding down and walking and moving towards that big gap or the crevasse. So we have our ice axe, we keep on punching on the ice to get a grip, and somehow we stabilize ourselves. But then we are taught that maximum 2 or 3 minutes. Give time and try to pull that chap out, because you're yourself in a difficult position. You're also being dragged down into the gap. You're holding it with the ice axe. I mean, it's maddening. You're trying to save yourself and you're trying to save your friend. But after 3 minutes, when you can't do anything, you just chop the rope by putting a piton there. The orders are chop the rope. In any case, after 3 minutes, that man can't survive. Because the temperature inside that gap, do you know what is the temperature? Minus 75 degrees Celsius. He becomes instantly frozen if he does not come out within 2 to 3 minutes. Those are the stark realities. Then, the second difficulty or the challenge was the terrain. 18,000 feet. There is a very, very severe phenomena called hypoxia. That means lack of oxygen in the air. Normal oxygen is about 28% in the air, which we are breathing normally as normal human beings. But as you keep climbing up in altitude, the percentage of oxygen keeps reducing to a very low level. So your body does not get enough oxygen into the body. And you have to breathe like an old man. Even a young, absolutely stout person, healthy person will be stooping over like an old man and walking slowly because you can't breathe. And when you breathe very hard, your windpipe is burning. It's like a flame, as if someone has put your windpipe on fire. And in that type of an atmosphere, you are expected to climb up like this in a steep incline of 80 degrees where your nose is touching the next step that you have to take. Imagine. And then we have got almost about 90 pounds of weight of your arms, your ammunition, some amount of supply, some clothing. Staying though, we have to live out right in the open. There's no way that you have any shelter. And on top of that, it's just not a walk. Like you go to a trek to Singhad or some other place. The enemy is sitting on top, which was the third challenge. He's got the most modern weapons with him. Huge number of machine guns that fire at 1,000 rounds a minute. And each bullet, when it comes, it whizzes past you like this, 1,000 rounds a minute. And you're scared to even move your head because the bullets are zinging all around you. Our sides are all tattered and the people are getting killed left, right and center. And they're there on top. So these are the type of challenges that we faced. Anyway, to cut the story short, volunteered, realized that I had to walk 14 hours of constant and quick march to reach my destination. That is my objective, which is to be captured. And throughout my journey of those 14 hours, we were constantly under enemy fire. And one lesson I want to give you here is never complain in life. Because I must add that in the army, there are only 2 sizes for clothes and equipment. The sizes are either too big or too small. You'll never get your size. So, normally people complain, हमारे size का कपड़ा नहीं मिलता, जूता का भी कपड़ा अपना size का नहीं मिलता. We keep complaining. And that day I learned why in the Indian Army we don't have the correct size. We have either too big or too small. Because when the machine gun started firing at us, one machine gun burst came very close to my leg over here, and one bullet went through the toe of my snow boot. It's a huge boot, snow boot like this, through and through. But luckily the snow boot was so big for me, my toes remained this side and the bullet went through in the front. So what I'm trying to say is never complain. Everything has got good news and everything has got a positive side to it. Now, out of those 16 or 1500 or 1200 to 1500 men, I chose a very fit 600 to 800 men to come and follow me. And that time I told them, सर में कफन बांधो और कभी सोचो नहीं कि हम वापस आएंगे. हम वापस नहीं आएंगे. Just think that we are finished. Because if you try to save yourself and preserve yourself at this juncture, at this very, very serious moment, you will never be able to succeed, because the weather will get you, the mountain will get you, the bullet will get you, the enemy will get you. There are so many challenges. But if you say, कि now सर में कफन बांधा है, let anything come and I will do it, nothing can stop you. You become invincible. So I made them invincible by telling them, we are not coming back, sar mein kafan baandho, and just think that we will be part of history whether we live or we die. And the second thing is, if we keep sitting down here, they will keep bombarding us, we might die. An ignominious death, nobody will know. We died out of a shelling that came from the enemy we could not see. But if we try, then we can capture, we may capture, and we will be part of history, and we may emerge victorious. We have a chance of victory. We have a chance to win. So try you must. And I told them, I will lead from the front. As a commanding officer, I'm not supposed to go in front. I said, I'll lead from the front. And we set out in earnest. A lot of fire came on us. And of course, so many horrible things happened, but few things I must tell you so that you young people understand the sacrifices that the soldiers have made. I remember when we were about 600 yards, the bullets were coming too furiously. I mean, it was so intense. And then when we came around 400 yards, it was, I mean, we had to pause there for a while because from 2-3 positions, the machine gun fire was too much. At 1,000 rounds a minute, about 40 to 60 machine guns were firing on us. And we were uphill, we were tired. Loads we had already shed because we could not carry any of it. At that time, I remember it was a moonlit night. One Pakistani Pathan, 6 feet something, he fired a grenade launcher. My radio operator was just in front of me. It was a moonlit night, I could see it. That grenade burst just in front of him. His whole abdomen ripped apart and his entrails started rolling out. All his contents of his stomach started rolling out. And this young man, in order to save himself, he's staggering like this and he was trying to put everything back. It was a terrible, terrible sight for me. And every time my boys would fall down, I had nothing else to do as a commanding officer. I could do nothing. So I used to sit down there, put the boy on my lap and tell him, beta, abhi tum seh lo, thodi der tak reh lo, and hum aage jaake we'll beat the enemy, we will capture the objective, and on my way back, I'll carry you on my shoulder and I'll take you down for treatment. And here I must share with you, my young soldiers, the bodies absolutely bullet-ridden, bleeding profusely, they still said, Saab, we understand that you require maximum manpower to reach on top. Because my challenge was, mujhe din hote hote, before the sun rises next morning, I have to reach the top. Because if I don't reach the top in the morning, I'm finished, we'll be butchered because they'll, from all adjoining areas, they'll pick us up like flies one by one. I had to reach there in the morning, that was the challenge. They said, Saab, aap jaiye. लेकिन थोड़ा जल्दी आइए, बहुत दर्द हो रहा है, बहुत महसूस हो रहा है दर्द, बहुत खून बह रहा है, and we want to live. I said fine. I used to drag them behind a rock, point their rifle towards the enemy and said, beta तुम fire करते रहो दुश्मन की तरफ, हम जाएंगे. And I must share with you, after a couple of days, I thought I'll be coming back after a day or two, but it took a little more time. After a couple of days when I came back, I saw the same bodies, their rifles were pointed towards the enemy. Their fingers were inside the trigger pressing like this. Their magazines were finished. All the bullets were fired. And they were dead, frozen solid. They died fighting till the last breath. This is our soldier. We reached the top with great difficulty, but I thought we had captured that place. But suddenly we got attack after attack from the enemy, counter-attack. The rest of my people were absolutely cut off. And out of those 600 people, do you know how many of us had managed to reach on top? I already had got a machine gun burst out 2-3 bullets on my leg and I was bleeding. When I asked people to count how many of us were there on top, do you know how many of us were living and fighting? There were just 8 of us on top. And we were surrounded by the enemy. And they kept on attacking us, kept on attacking us, kept on attacking us. And finally, to cut the story short, let me tell you, there was a time when I was left with only 2 bullets. I was left with only 2 bullets. I said, ek bullet dushman, second bullet my own head. Because I cannot even dream of being captured and made prisoner of war by Pakistan. But fortunately for me, my artillery guns came into place. I asked them for artillery fire. They fired and pounded the enemy as they attacked us. And on the 4th night, remember, 3 nights and 4 days, no sleep, not a wink of sleep. Because if you sleep, it means death. The enemy will just come and attack you. Not a drop of water, because we had no water. Everything was chidra, everything was absolutely riddled with bullets. The snow which was there, white snow, it was all absolutely covered with that chemical, which when you bombard over there, the chemical is spread around with the artillery shelling. And if you drink that water or that snow into a ball and drink it like this, you are finished. You will have diarrhea and you don't need a bullet. After 2 days, you will in any case die. So you can't even drink that water. No food. Where to get the food from? 3 nights, 4 days. And in this halat, when we got this artillery fire, on the 4th day, my reinforcements came up with my second in command and we planted the Tiranga Jhanda and I unfurled the Tiranga Jhanda like I did earlier. I have told you this story in a very, very brief, means micro brief version. But if I tell you the bravery which was shown and displayed by my troops, your tears will come out and you will understand the true word of Azadi. You will understand the true cost of Azadi. Because today I told you, independence means what? It means Azadi from all this corruption, this, that, and also to ensure that the integrity of the nation is maintained at the borders by our vigilant soldiers and the brave soldiers. That is the meaning of independence today. So, at this juncture, I don't want to bore you too much. I just want to leave you with thoughts of 2-3 things that I have in mind for you. The first, please practice tolerance and respect. I can see abundance of it over here because the complete environment over here speaks of respect and the type of good culture that is being bred and taught to you over here under Mr. llJai and his team. Today there is too much of intolerance. We cannot tolerate each other's religion. We do not tolerate each other's culture. We do not tolerate each other's freedom of thought. You see the road rage, even in traffic. Fellow will make a mistake over there and start giving you and staring at you. What have you done? Why can't you let me do the way I go? Even if he's against the traffic laws. There is total intolerance and there is total disrespect for each other. Please learn that mutual respect can get us a long way. And India needs that. A sense of tolerance for everybody to respect each other will be a wonderful place. So please, from today onwards, practice this tolerance. I remember a story one of my friends told me and sent me over there, that in the London cabbie he was taking, and when the London cabbie was trying to go the correct way, when the red signal became green, he went ahead, and the other side, another fellow came, and very, very recklessly drove past him, and just managed to save, the car just managed to save itself. And the Sikh driver was in the correct thing, and that fellow was wrong. Yet that person started using all gali on him, and started abusing him badly and, saying all this thing and gesticulating. And the Sikh gentleman just folded his hands and smiled like this. He just did this and he let him go. The person who was sitting behind asked him, my goodness, it's his mistake. He is breaking the traffic law and you are doing this. You should have told him, what is this? You are the fellow who's wrong and not me. He said, look, everyone who starts out from his house, these people with negativity, they come and they try to throw the garbage on you. But you should not accept that garbage. Do this and tell him, please take your garbage with you. I don't want this negativity. वो कचरा लेके हमने क्या करना है? अपना मूड खराब करना है? You will talk badly like that to someone else when you meet because your mood is bad. We used to have a professor who used to fight with his wife and then put all the anger on us when we were in the class. कुछ भी नहीं किया फिर भी गुस्से से थप्पड़ मार देता था. So what I'm trying to say is, do not carry this garbage. Just let it go. Smile. Do this and let him go. You will, after 3-4 times, you will suddenly feel that you are a more supreme being. You are more mature. You are higher in your status of thinking. Okay, so practice this. That's the first thing. Second thing is humanity and compassion. No point having huge bungalow, riches, everything, but no family, huge house, no home. What Dalai Lama always says. No point. You may achieve the biggest contract of $1 billion, but next day is your divorce. Third day, your own personal people don't even want to rejoice in your doing this because you have sacrificed their happiness to get this contract. What is the point? You are so nasty with your neighbor. What is the point? Humanity and compassion. Try to help people as much as possible. Try to have compassion for other beings. It may be human beings, it may be animals, it may be anything. And that, I think, the Jain teaching is one of the best, where you teach people ahimsa paro dharma. That was the third one. Second one. And the third one is discipline, my favorite subject. And yours too. Yours is because discipline is something which is abhorred, not liked by most of the students and young people. Because they think discipline means chain mein bandhna, hunter ghumana. That's not discipline. The discipline I'm talking about is more of self-discipline. When I talk about self-discipline, what is self-discipline? What is the definition of discipline? Definition of discipline is what you do when no one else is watching you. Now you imagine what all you have been doing. See, already people are smiling. That is discipline. Not when someone is watching you. That is not discipline. That is acting. You can take a good stage career. Mr. Pradeep is here. I'm sure they'll guide you. That is acting. But the true discipline is actually being yourself and doing what is the right thing to be done. And in discipline, in the subject of discipline, the actual discipline is self-discipline, which is prime. Some people even call it moral discipline. One of the famous speakers compared discipline with a kite. The strings of the kite. When you throw the kite up like that and the string pulls it, it starts climbing higher and higher, it starts flying. After some time, that kite, who is the student, he feels he's gone very high and he's being controlled and restricted because of this string. Don't you all feel that? It's being controlled and restricted because of the string. So when you cut the string, will the kite go higher? The string is the one which guides you to actually go higher. It is a guideline for your success, and it is not the other way around. So when you have self-discipline, moral discipline, and you do the right things despite all the challenges that you face, because temptations are there. It's easy to give bhashan and say ki be self-disciplined, corruption band karo, ye band karo. Just this morning only when I wrote a message to my friend, we should get independence from corruption, we should get independence from this. So he wrote back, Colonel Saab, easy to give bhashan. If I don't give bribe to the environment people because I'm selling one industry here, those people, I will lose my business. Absolutely correct. So this is where you come in with your intellect and your awareness, because yours is a generation which has got more brains. If the person who's corrupt is using his brains to become corrupt, you use your brains to make sure that you get over him. How could I tell my friend, ki get your work done, pay the bribe, but after that make sure that he pays for it? You can do that. When you do things, do it intelligently. I don't say abrupt. You cannot stop anything abruptly, because this is one of the practices which has been coming down from 3,000 years practice. If you read all the historical books, everywhere there is bribery, everywhere there is some sort of this thing which is corruption which is happening. But the idea is to use your brains intelligently and practice it in the best way you can. Therefore, what we need today is a little national character. We must have a national character. We can't keep throwing things out of the car like this. When we go to Singapore or Japan, we are so scared to throw these things because you know the police will come and give you a ticket. And everyone who comes here, the Westerns, they say कि Indians are very disciplined. वो कितना साफ सुथरा रखते हैं उधर. But हिंदुस्तान में जब आओगे आप वापस, why is this happening? Why is the kachra being thrown anywhere? That's because we have got that chalta hai attitude. So we must have this national character. And the last bit of advice I want to give my friends is have a sense of humor. Don't keep such a castor oil face all the time. Your people will say, oh, aa gaya castor oil. Have a sense of humor. I'll tell you in war how it helped me. When I was surrounded, I told you, by the enemy for 3 nights and 4 days, and I had only 2 those bullets. And I looked at my boys, they also had 1 or 2 bullets. And I got a message that 40 of the Pakistanis have surrounded us and they're coming at us. I had to change their spirit. They were absolutely tense. They could see the tenseness in my face. And I remembered my father. He said, use humor. That will change the plane. And I quickly thought, you know, in Nepali, in my language, there are no galis. Hardly any galis. When you speak loudly, it's a gali. So there are no galis. And our people are very reluctant because they are not used to giving galis. The culture is like that. And those Pakistanis who are coming up in mountains, you can hear people much clearer. But reaching is a little, slow because of the incline and the walk that you have to do. But the voice carries very far. And the Pakistanis were abusing me. They were abusing us, using the best abusive language, or total parliamentary language, I can say. So everybody understands parliamentary language. And yours truly, I had a best Sardaji friend in my school and college days and even in my academy days. And he had taught me the choicest Punjabi galis. I am a vocabulary of Punjabi galis. Matter of fact, I'm sure if that fellow writes a memoir, those Pakistanis, they will say that there was one Gurkha soldier over there whose vocabulary was tremendous in Punjabi galis. And I was giving it back to them equal. My boys were tense and they were watching me. So I said, now I must get them into the mood of fighting. And I told myself, I was cursing the world. Why am I in a situation like this? My boys are dying. Everybody is dying. People don't even know what is happening to us, I was into that conflict. And then I suddenly realized I must change the mood. So I looked at my boys and I told them, pardon me for using, because I'm a Fauji, I can use a few here and there. Okay? That's Fauji language. I looked at them, I said, bloody fools, तुम्हारा commanding officer साहब को ये पाकिस्तानी लोग इतना गंदा गाली दे रहे हैं, तुम लोग चुपचाप बैठे हो, गाली दो. Now my boys were in total दुविधा, क्या करें? Commanding officer का हुक्म is like पत्थर में लकीर. There's no question of disobeying him. So they started nudging each other. You gave it, Suddenly they caught hold of one fellow, Gyan Bahadur, who was from Dehradun. They said, Dehradun ka badmash hai, pakka, he must be knowing galis. So they got him up. And this fellow, 5 feet nothing, takes out his kukri like this, adjusts his jacket like this. He's still trying to get the courage, to give gali in front of me. And then he looked over the boulder. And then he looked at me. I said, yes, gali do. Then he says, Pakistani kutta upar aayega to mundi kaat dega. When he said that, I started laughing and I told him, Gyan Bahadur, Pakistani log pakka marega, lekin wo hans ke marega ki Gorkhe log gali bhi nahi de sakte. And believe me, in such a serious condition, the soldiers suddenly got josh. They took out their khukris. I remember chopping those Pathans, 6 feet something, and my guys just 5 feet. They were jumping and chopping those heads, and the heads were rolling down. They just got up, took their khukris out, and they said, Saab, ek hi goli hai to kya hua? Khukri hai na? Kaat ke marenge jab tak hum nahi marenge, Saab. Suddenly that josh was there. So, my dear friends, when that could work for us in one of the most dire situations, I'm sure humor will work for you. Those people who have got good wives, they will appreciate you more, the married people. The boys who have got girlfriends, they'll appreciate you more, and vice versa for the girls and the ladies. Please smile more often. Put humor in life over there. I don't expect you to become jokers, but at least use humor. Use humor in day-to-day life and make your life a little worth living. And finally, all I will say is, remember, guilty are not those people who use or say abusive language or say the bad things. Guilty are those people who don't say anything when you're supposed to say something. Okay? Have you all understood what I'm trying to tell you? And I'm sure you're going to keep your promise of what I just asked you of. Okay? I want you all to try this. And if you succeed, please contact me and say, sir, humor success. Okay? Right. Thank you so much.